Alright, welcome to section 3, the Reading Tracker app. So in this video, we're just going to be getting started by going over exactly what this app is, and we'll also start to write a little bit of code. Okay, so what are the features of our Reading Tracker? We're going to be able to browse a list of books, and this is just going to be a pre-made list. We're not going to be adding books or deleting books or anything. We're going to be able to create book lists. We're going to be able to add books to our book lists. We're going to be able to view books on book lists. And there's also going to be a login feature so that you can log in and only view book lists that are associated with you. And also a feature to create users. So that's a lot of features, but we're going to go about it in a few steps. So we're going to start out by building the UI for viewing all the books and all the lists, and also implement list creation. Next, we're going to add the feature to add books to book lists, and also viewing books on each book list. And finally, we're going to implement the user creation and login. And this is going to require a lot of refactoring to add this user feature at the very end, but I'm doing this intentionally because I want to show how to refactor a complicated app using Vuex. And I think that you'll find that it's actually a lot easier to do this refactoring using Vuex because instead of having to change a lot of files and a lot of components, a lot of this refactoring is just going to happen in our store file. And so it's really going to make it a lot less work than it would be if we had a lot of data spread throughout the application instead of being centralized. Okay, that's it for a summary of the application. Let's jump right in with the viewing books feature. Okay, so as usual, I've created a project with Vue CLI, and I've added a few boilerplate files. Let's check out the store.js file. Okay, so you can see it's pretty standard, except on line 7 here. Normally you've just set strict mode to true, but here I set it to be only true if we're not in production mode. This is something I've left out in the past just because it's complicated. But for future use cases, in real-world use cases, you'll always want to do this, because the strict mode actually makes the performance worse. So it's a nice feature for debugging, but you don't want to have it on in production because it's adding a lot of watchers to your state that you don't need to have going on in production. But it is a really nice feature to have during development to make sure that you're not accidentally changing your state outside of mutations. Okay, so I'm going to start out by importing some data. Okay, so I created a couple of JSON files that have some initial data to populate our app with. So first is the books.json file, which I'll just open up for you. So you can see that each book has an ID, a title, an author, a page count, and the date it was published. And this is just a giant array of a bunch of different books. And then the lists. So this is eventually going to be the book lists that the users have, and here I just created a few example ones. So there's read for books that have already been read, and to read for, and those are just a couple of different examples. And each one has an ID, a name, and the description. Okay, so now that we have the initial data, let's add it into the state. Okay, and for now we'll just leave the mutations empty. Alright, so now let's go check out how it looks in the browser. Nothing's going to be visible, but we can use the dev tools to make sure it's all loaded in. Okay, so here's this UI I created. They're all just empty pages. You can see that we have the books and the list, and they're all populated. Okay, so now we're going to create a view to look at the books. So this is just going to be a few columns with the title, the author, the pages, and the published date. So those are just the columns with the column headers, and some of them have widths on them. And this is going to be the contents of each column. Okay, so first we have to get access to the books. So instead of getting it from the store, I'm going to have it passed in as a prop so we have more flexibility. And that transition was accidental. Okay, and then let's fill out the columns. So that's the title, the author, the page count, and the date. And now that we have our component, let's add it into the view. So this is the file that's linked to in the main navigation. You can see it right here. So we're just going to import in the book list component, and then we're going to use it here. Okay, and you can see that it's loading all the books. Okay, so that's it for this video.